same time. That's all I said that I think triggered this whole thing. I have friends. Nabil Qureshi was my good friend, who was a doctor, medical doctor, who wrote a book called Seeking Allah, Finding Jesus. And it's a powerful book about how he did the search and investigated Christianity as a Muslim and became a devout Christian. We became very good friends. He died of cancer. I was at his bedside shortly before he passed. And he did what few people do, which is to say, I'm going to investigate it. I'm going to check it out. I'm going to look at what is the evidence for the truth of Islam versus what is the evidence for the truth of Christianity. I just encourage anybody to do that. Be as objective as possible. I'll tell you, I have a good friend who's a Muslim, and he came over to my house for dinner. And we're grilling in the backyard. And I said, let's set aside religion. Let's just set aside religion. I said, let's just look at history. Let's look at facts. I've got all of this evidence that Jesus did die on the cross. These things we talked about earlier. I've got these 4 E's that point to not only the death of Jesus, but his resurrection from the dead. I said, these are first century sources. This goes right back to the beginning. And then I said, what have you got? You've got a book 600 years later by a guy who said an angel in a cave told him it isn't true. Surah 4, verse 157. Jesus didn't really die on the cross. I said, let's just weigh the historical data. Where does that come out? And he looked at me and said, I choose to believe the Quran. Okay, you have that freedom to do it, but I'm asking, where's the evidence? Where are the facts? Where's the data? And I believe it points toward the truth of Christianity.